There's more to Disney Plus than meets the eye. To most, it might just look like Disney's new streaming content platform, chock full of family-friendly shows and movies. However, it's more than that. To the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's purgatory. Just in case you've been living under a rock, I'll catch you up on what you need to know about Disney Plus, rather than get you the medical attention that you probably desperately need because you've been living under said rock. So it's this new video-on-demand streaming platform, much like Netflix, that's gonna house all your favorite Disney-owned assets. In fact, they've even started poaching away top executives from Netflix to jump ship to the House of Mouse. It doesn't launch for a few more months, but it's already destined to be a powerhouse in the content world. I mean, Disney owns a lot of assets. Like, not only all of the original Disney stuff, but they own ABC, ESPN, National Geographic, Lucasfilms, oh yeah, and Marvel. And they're willing to leverage a lot of that stuff on their shiny new platform. Disney also owns that chair that you're sitting on, and that shirt that you're wearing, and you. Disney owns pretty much everything. All of it. Disney owns it all. This new streaming platform is sure to disrupt the entire streaming landscape. Netflix will probably take a hit, as will Amazon Prime, and there's already rumors that Disney's trying to buy Hulu. Not only will this new streaming service bite into the other platforms' audiences, but their content as well. Expect any Disney-owned assets to be taken off other platforms and made exclusive to their own. Ouch. Within the context of the MCU, however, this Disney streaming service means something totally different. It isn't just a video-on-demand platform, it's purgatory for your favorite MCU characters. That's right, it's where Marvel ships off their discarded heroes who no longer have a story to tell. It's the limbo between the MCU and being totally written off. It's the place where comic book characters go when there's nowhere else to go. It's like the afterlife, only with a better user interface. After all, Disney isn't about to let any potential money slip through their fingertips. These MCU characters may have passed away on the big screen, or their stories may have concluded in other ways, but Disney isn't about to stop milking them. There's that old saying about beating a dead horse, but these horses still have a bit of horse juice left in them, so Disney's not gonna put down those clubs anytime soon. Details are still pretty sparse, but we do know of 2 confirmed series coming to this new streaming service. The first show is about WandaVision, the couple of Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and her artificially created husband Vision. It doesn't take a diehard fan to point out the fact that Vision famously passed away in Avengers Infinity War and hasn't been seen on screen since, but he's back now. Hopefully they cover how and why he's back, but there's no guarantee that they'll do that. If they're sticking to the comic book source material, then Wanda could easily just bring her husband back. However, they've kind of stifled her powers on the big screen, so they might want to go with any number of, time travel or multiverse explanations to bring him back instead. After all, anything is possible now in the MCU. It's completely and utterly broken. But how much will these new Disney shows actually stick to the MCU precedents? Will they exist within the same universe, following the same timeline? If so, can we expect some cool cameos of big screen stars popping up in the small screen world? You would think that these characters would all follow the same story, but that could get tricky with dozens of movies on the horizon featuring a multitude of characters all tied in with several different TV shows all weaving into one another. That's a lot. It's yet to be determined what the WandaVision show will be about or what it'll focus on. Her role in the MCU appears to be all but wrapped up. She was mad at Thanos for destroying her husband, and now Thanos has been defeated, so I guess ship her on off to Disney+. Perhaps they'll have kids and it'll turn into some kind of weird family sitcom. Marvel clearly doesn't have any plans for her on the big screen, so she'll be one of the first to enter the newly formed purgatory. The other confirmed Disney+ show is a Loki series. A longtime fan favorite, Loki was the main villain of the original Avengers movie and has appeared in a slew of different Marvel titles. He also got wicked dead when he tried standing up to Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War, but then a 2012 version of the character escaped with the Space Stone in Endgame. If you haven't seen either of those movies, then that sentence made absolutely zero sense. Much like Vision, They're just bringing back a character that's already perished. It somewhat discredits all the heart-wrenching parts of Infinity War, since all the characters lost can just be brought back on a whim. That moment in Endgame where Loki escapes wasn't relevant to the story of the movie, they just sprinkled that in there to explain how he's coming back for a TV show. And even still, it would stand to reason that this show must be taking place on an alternate timeline, because that's how time travel works in the MCU. Changing the past doesn't affect the future, it simply creates a new reality that branches off. This Loki series must be part of a completely separate, non-MCU branch of reality. If that sounds complicated, don't feel bad, it is. What's interesting about this show is that it'll likely center around this 2012 version of Loki, back before he was a lovable anti-hero, and he was still a full-fledged villain with aspirations of enslaving humanity. Not exactly the type of main protagonist you'd expect from a TV series. I gotta assume it'll be odd to produce an entire show about a bad guy, but according to early reports, the show will be about Loki popping up during important moments in history as a, quote, unlikely influencer. They mean he'll influence important historical events, not like he'll get a bunch of followers on Instagram and get you 15% off new sunglasses if you use his promo code. While those are the two confirmed shows coming to Disney+, there are several others that are strongly being rumored right now. For starters, there's a Falcon and Winter Soldier spin-off in the works. Why else would they pair these two up in the last Avengers installment? They have literally nothing to do with one another, yet all of a sudden are best friends? Also, the fact that Captain America chose Sam Wilson as his predecessor instead of his best friend Bucky Barnes is flat out weird. Why is Bucky okay with this? After all, he was Cap's best friend who fought alongside him since their friendship began way back in the 1940s when they were American soldiers. His best friend on the planet, the one man who he could trust and depend on, chose to retire and then gave his shield and moniker to some other dude? What gives? And does this mean that Falcon will now be donning the red, white, and blue and wielding the shield? Only time will tell, but the reports are that these two will be teaming up for a joint series on the new Disney platform. Sam never really had that elaborate of a story arc to begin with, so he was never that necessary to the MCU. Bucky had the whole Winter Soldier thing, but now that Steve Rogers is retired and Iron Man is out of the picture, he's pretty much wrapped up as well. Looks like it's time to pair them together and toss them on over to Disney+. The same goes for Hawkeye. Let's take a look at the original roster of Avengers. As previously mentioned, Captain America is retired, and Iron Man has passed away. Black Widow is now out of the picture as well. Thor is off traveling through outer space with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Bruce Banner has successfully merged with the Hulk and is now a national celebrity. Then there's Hawkeye, who lost his family to the snap, but managed to get them back in Endgame. He isn't getting any standalone movies, and his story is essentially finished being told. So what now? Ta-da! Disney+. Rumor is he'll be the first and only original Avenger to leave the big screen and jump to the streaming platform. The show will likely focus on his relationship with his family, who he triumphantly saved in Endgame. Well, Black Widow kinda saved, but sure. And most notably with his daughter, who he's grooming in his own image. There's already talks of a Young Avengers film in the pipeline, so a Hawkeye offspring would fit right into that equation. Then there's also all those Fox assets that Disney just acquired, like Deadpool, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. Rather than try to squeeze all these awesome characters into an already overpopulated MCU, Disney may very well just toss them over to Disney+. It would solve the issue of how to utilize them while simultaneously adding so much value and credibility to their new platform. We've already covered a potential Deadpool show in a previous video, so I won't dig too deep into that, other than to say it would certainly be fun to have a fresh 30 or 60 minutes of Wade Wilson every week. The Fantastic Four offers some of the most memorable and notable stories from the comics, so there's no shortage of source material to draw from if they do opt to do a show. And the X-Men cartoon is one of the best cartoons ever made. A live-action reboot of a similar style program would be absolutely incredible. If you think about it, Disney Plus is pretty much Marvel's own version of The Snap, where characters get removed from the MCU and launched into an entirely different realm. If this is purgatory, then what's heaven and what's hell? Well, I think it's safe to say that heaven is the main MCU, where all the big-timers play and they gross billions of dollars at the box office. But then what's hell? One could have argued that it was the Fox side of things, but now that Disney acquired all their rights, that doesn't really apply. Maybe Sony Studios? although they actually haven't been that bad. What do you think? Where do the worst characters go when they're completely done? And what other heroes do you think Disney can ship over to their new platform? Who would you like to see with a new show of their own? Let us know in the comments down below. Speaking of which, before we wrap this thing up, let's take a look at some of our favorite comments from the past week. Pesto_Price writes, quote, "I'm literally up watching these kinds of videos at 4 a.m. What do you mean by that? Are you watching our videos, or are you watching videos like our videos? Also, go to bed." The same user goes on to add, "Love your voice, BTW." Thank you, my parents gave it to me. Before you go, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to Behind the Screen to stay up to date on all of our latest releases. If you hit that little bell icon, YouTube will notify you when a new video gets released so that you won't miss it. Until next time, bye!